Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video. This time we're doing Otters, and Otters is one of the newer creature types that has received a lot of support in Bloomburrow. So out of all the creature types I've played so far, I do think Otters is the weakest. I've heard Squirrels is quite weak, and we did lose against the Squirrel deck, so I don't know if this is weaker. And there is also, I think, a much stronger version of this deck using the new Storm Splitter card, which every time you cast a non-creature spell copies itself, and then it has haste, and you can just not quite go infinite, but go bonkers with it. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this as a straight Prowess deck. And one of the reasons why I think this is the weakest is all the other creature types have not necessarily unique playstyles, but they are very different. Mice have Valiant, which is a brand new mechanic, although it's very similar to other mechanics. You know, it is a completely... It's a unique playstyle for this standard. Bats is Life Gain, which is obviously not unique, but it is on a lot of bats, this format. Same with Lizards. Lizards weighs heavily into the getting value from damage your opponent, which we've seen before, but having an entire tribe built around it is different. And even Squirrels. Squirrels is another new keyword. Foraging and frogs is the first time I think we've ever seen the not a keyword but the word in whenever another creature leaves a battlefield without dying, you get benefits from it. Whereas Otters is just Prowess. We already have a Prowess deck in standard, a deck that most people hate because it's just far too prevalent. And the reality is, if you want to play a Prowess deck, you should probably play that one and not this one. So that all being said, let's get into the cards. A lot of them are brand new. In fact, most of them are brand new. So let's start off with the Otters. We have Storm Chaser's Talent, which creates an Otter for 1 mana. It's a great turn 1 play. Then the 4 mana, we can level it up. And the Otter has Prowess, we can level it up. Which when we do, return target instant or sorcery card from our graveyard. That does cost 4 mana, which is quite a lot of them. A 6 mana, which I've never got there. When you cast into a sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue red otter creature token with Prowess. My problem with this card is those otters do not have haste. You can play a 1-drop to get a 1/1 otter, or you can play at rare as well, or you can play the red Prowess deck and get a 1/2 Prowess haste on turn 1. So we then have Kitsa Otterball Elite, 2 mana, 1/3 Vigilance and Prowess. Again, no haste. Tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. And you can pay 2 to tap it. Copy target into a sorcery spell you control. You may choose new copies for the target. Do it 2 target for the copy, and then activate only if Kitsa's power is 3 or greater. Again, this is counterintuitive a bit to how the deck is. The deck has a very low curve. We only have 2 3-drops, and one of them you are never playing for 3. It will cost 2 or even 1. And the Valley Floodcaller, actually my main complaint is it's too expensive for this deck. So we have 22 lands. I did try 23, but there were some games I literally drew 9 lands, and there were some games I drew 6 or 7, which for in a deck like this you're just going to die. So with Kitsa, you probably need at least 4 mana, because you play a non-creature for 1, its prowess goes up to 2. You play another non-creature for 1, its power goes up to 3, and then you can pay 2 and copy it. So you're copying a Monstrous Rage or a Sleight of Hand, or a 1 mana Pearl of Wisdom if you've got your Stormcatch Mentor down. And yeah, you're getting value, but 4 mana to copy a reasonably cheap spell is not great, I think. I think paying 2 to do it is too much. I think 1 or even 0, you've had to pay mana to get there. And in the deck, this kind of deck, you're not having really expensive instant and sorceries. So... but, a 1/3 for 2 is not bad, and Vigilance, so we can draw and discard when we need to. Then we have Otterball Antics, which is a sorcery to create another 1/1 red otter, blue and red with Prowess. If we flash it back, which we can for 4, we put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Again, no haste, which I think really holds it back, because you're comparing it to Monastery Swift Spear and Fugitive Codebreaker and Swift Shot to Show Off, which all have haste, all have Prowess, and are all either the same price or cheaper. 2, we have Stormcatch Mentor, which is does have haste, but it's a 2-mana 1/1, but it's instant source spell to cost 1 less to cast. So our Lightning Strike, our Blazing Crescendos, and our Pearl of Wisdoms are going to be cheaper, and this does make Pearl of Wisdom cost 1, which is really cool. And then top of our curve, Valley Floodcaller, which is in theory really powerful, but I do think too expensive for this deck. It's a 3-mana 2/2 with flash, so the stats aren't great. It says you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash, so that really only is relevant for our Sleight of Hand and Stormchaser's Talent and Otterball Antics. But it says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Otters you control get +1/+1 to end turn, untap them. So essentially, it gives all our Otters an extra ability of Prowess, so which is great if we can get it down. But by turn 3, we just usually it's better cracking in, or we need to remove something if we're against a really aggro deck. So I think this would be better being 2 mana. It's just a bit slow, but it is really powerful. And then next up, we do have an older Otter, an elusive Otter from Wilds of Eldraine, which is a 1 mana 1/1 with Prowess, and creatures with power less than elusive Otter's power can't block it. There's an adventure side for green, and I did think about putting green mana in for it, but I didn't in the end. Maybe it would have worked out better. It did, but the mana base can all be quite annoying for some reason. We just don't seem to draw the right amount of lands. Or the right colour of lands. Now, onto our non-creature spells. And obviously a deck like this needs a lot of non-creature spells because that's how it wins. So, into the Floodmoor. 1 mana. Return target creature an opponent controls on his hand. We can gift a tapped fish. And if we do, we can return any non-land permanent an opponent controls on his hand. Great way to get rid of a blocker. Or a troublesome non-land permanent. While buffing our board. Sleight of Hand. Again, an older card. Look at the top 2. Put 1 in your hand, 1 at the bottom of your library. So a bit of card draw. Everyone knows Monstrous Rage. Similar to Blazing Crescendo. You've got 2 copies of this. Target creature gets +3/+1. And then we get some card advantage by some top card of our library. Lightning Strike. And then Pearl of Wisdom. A 3 mana draw 2. But it does cost 1 less. So we control an Otter, which we will. And obviously Stormcatch Mana puts it down to 0. Puts it down to 1 mana. Mana base. 6 islands. 6 mountains. 2 Restless Spires. There's a slight alternate win condition. This is, I want to say, one of the worst of the rest of Spires. It's the cheapest, only costs 2, but a 2/1 first strike during your turn is not fantastic. And it does scry 1 when it attacks. 4 Shivering Reef and 4 Spire Buff Canals. As I said, I've gone down to 22 lands because we were just drawing far too many lands. And even with 22, we drew a lot of lands. You generally only want 4 lands. But there are games, I think one game I literally had 9 from 23. It was ridiculous. So we did cut it down to 22. So that's a deck. As I said, I'm not a big fan of it. I think if you want to play Prowess, just play the Rakdos Fling Prowess deck. It's a lot more powerful. There is no reason to play a lot of these cards if this is the gameplay you want to do. As I said, there is another Otter deck using Stormsplitter, which Legend VD did a week or so ago, and I will do soon, which I think is a lot more explosive, but Stormsplitter is a mythic. I only have 1 of them, and as you can see, I don't currently have any mythic wildcards. So once I get some more of those, I will do that deck. So I hope you do all enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We're on the play with not the fastest hand, but it's okay, I suppose. Rockface Village can't cast Monstrous Rage. But it can cast the Mentor. They've plotted a Dust Animus. Well, let's get Prowess going. I would like to have drawn a red source. Probably should have played my mentor first. I'm not gonna play out a mentor because I wonder if they've got a temporary lockdown. At the end of their turn, I'll discard a Monstrous Rage, I think. So let's play out the Mentor. And let's bounce their Bodyguard. Well, they are tapped out. They're down to 10. They go digging. Obviously, they're going to be able to protect their Bodyguard with Skrelv, but obviously this does give us, it does mean they see tap Skrelv. They paid life as well. I think they have something. They must do. Yep. I believe that's still lethal though. It is. Yeah, we struggled a bit with red mana there. Maybe I need to take the Rockface Village out and just put more mountains in. Oh well, we're on the draw. We've got an okay hand. We can Otter into maybe Sleight of Hand and Monstrous Rage. Let's see if our Otter survives. Well, let's see what's in our top two. I will take another Spire Bluff Canal. Hit them for 6. another Insidious Roots. I think I'll just attack. If they try and shock it or something, I will Monstrous Rage. But if not, I'll just flash in the Floodcaller. Oh, so they're going to try and combo. Good thing we've got into the flood more. Well, let's do this. Then let's do this. And then this should be lethal. Yeah. There is a version of this the deck they're playing without Insidious Roots. It's just red blue with Convoke. Because you can tap the tokens the Storm Splitter creates for Convoke and just carry on going off like that. We are on the play with a okay hand. We can Elusive Otter into Sleight of Hand and then or Pearl of Wisdom. Let's hope our Otter survives. Well, if it's a discard deck, I'm going to get rid of a Lightning Strike. I will just Pearl of Wisdom then to draw 2. And swing in for 2. Next turn I can Storm, Catch, Mentor and Sleight of Hand. Oh, it's the Nurturing Pixie deck. I will just Pearl of Wisdom then instead. Question is, do they have the Pixie or another Tithing Blade? They don't. Right. We can... We'll Storm Chaser's Talent. Pearl of Wisdom. Kill off the Cosmos Caller. And hit in for 4. They do have another Tithing Blade. Obviously we can sack token. I might actually discard 2 land. Well, let's hope we hit something playable. Having only 2 blue mana is kind of annoying. Obviously, I imagine they're going to chump the Mentor. We will draw. Just all lands all the time. Let's level up. Get back Pearl of Wisdom. And next turn we can Otterball Antics. And not Pearl of Wisdom. We could level up the talent all the way. That was a pretty good draw. They can't block the elusive Otter. They could transform a Timer Blade. Looks like what they're doing to just start draining us. Of course, it does use their entire turn. Then this, I think, is most definitely lethal. Level it up. Get back another Pearl of Wisdom. Cast this for 1. And swing in for 10. Yeah, there was I assume they had Nurturing Pixie in their deck. Obviously, they never drew it, and I think they only had 1 white source. So the idea of their deck is get down things like Hopeless Nightmare, Tywin Blade. Nurturing Pixie comes down, pick them up, replay them, and get all that value. We did play it on the channel a few months ago. Might have to have another look at it with things like Bandit's Talent as an additional discard. Well, we're on the draw, but with an okay hand. We've got Into the Floodmoth for removal. Stormcatch Mentor can make Pearl of Wisdom cost 1. I think we Restless Spire turn 1. Yeah, I think we still Restless Spire. I'm going to play out Kitsa now. I fully expect something to be removed. Let's play out a... Let's play out the Mentor. Hit him for 5. Another light in here next. Well, let's play out the Otterball Elite and one of our elusive Otters. Next turn we can Pearl of Wisdom. Into the Floodmoor doesn't look like it's doing anything. Can maybe discard into the Floodmoor with Kitsa. Although it looks like it's going to die. Or maybe just another up the beanstalk. Let's see if we can hit an untapped land. We can... Well, let's see if we... I'll take another Pearl of Wisdom. Hit him for 6. And the end of their turn. We'll probably discard the into the Floodmoor, or maybe the Spire Bluff Canal. Into the Floodmoor can bounce their token. I'm not going to Pearl of Wisdom now. But we're in a pretty bad spot, annoyingly. They just have a lot of removal. We can probably start getting in with the Restless Spire. Well, let's turn on the Spire. Don't need land. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't have any removal. So they are a domain-based deck, which is, without the Tri-lands from New Capella, is a bit worse. Well, oh, I'm surprised. So what we could have done then is turn on the Restless Spire, Monstrous Rage, into the Floodmoor one of their Beanstalks just to get that Prowess trigger, and that we may have had. Yeah, I think we had enough left to Lightning Strike, so I'm guessing I didn't have any removal at all. There's a problem with decks, I think, which are just built around removal is, you know, they didn't play a single creature. Obviously, they had Herd Migration, but you need that removal to take care of creatures, and especially low to the ground creatures, which, you know, can get in, just chip damage, and then with Prowess we can buff them up. We're on the play. We don't have any red mana, which could be a massive issue. Hopefully we draw into it. Well, I'm going to try and draw into it. Do they crack their evolving wilds? This is getting worrying. Well, I'll play out Kitsa. Next turn we can discard probably a Stormcatch Mentor. One of them. Sorry, my Alexa's gone off in the background. Well, that's a red mana, so that's pretty good. And then let's swing in. So they can kill 1/1. Or not. I thought Prowess would wear off before that did. We will discard a Stormcatch Mentor with our Otterball Elite. Because we really need to find a Into the Floodmoor. So this is not Covert Go Blue. Saffron Olive played this deck a couple of days ago. So I think we're pretty much done. There's no way we're getting through an 8/9 and a 6/6. We're on the play with an okay hand. We can Elusive Otter turn 1. Turn 2, maybe Blazing Crescendo it. Or Into the Floodmoor and Monstrous Rage, depending on what they play. If they want to chump, that's fine. I'll Monstrous Rage afterwards. Clearly they are unsure. Not a tough choice. Chump with your 1-drop, or don't. They've decided against it. Good for them. They kept to 1 lander, that's why. Hello Magic fans and welcome back to the wrap up. So we played 10 games with a straight 50% win rate. As I said in the deck check, I think this is one of the least powerful creature types in Bloomburrow, just because it does something that there's already a deck that does it, and a deck that everyone plays, everyone doesn't really like. So if you want to play Prowess, play that one. I think everything's a bit too expensive for the type of deck it is. You know, there's the Valley Floodcaller I think should be 2 mana, not 3 mana, and Kitsa I think its copying ability shouldn't cost 2. It's just a bit expensive for what this deck is. It's also a fine line between getting the right number of creatures and non-creatures. Obviously you need the creatures to be buffed when you play non-creature spells, but you need the non-creature spells to buff your creatures. And the longer the game goes on, the worse your deck is, because you're going to be attacking with, you know, a few 2/2s and 3/3s, which can work if you have any blockers. But as soon as your opponent get down a 4/4, a 5/4, or, you know, 4/4, 6/6s, those kind of big creatures, which a lot of the decks can, there's just no chance you're going to win. And then, you know, when you draw a land instead of a playable card, that, you know, you might as well concede. So didn't have the best time playing it. I got frustrated quite a lot, which I think you may have seen in some of the videos. But I hope you all enjoyed watching it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.